Folks, Ryan Engel here for my close personal friends at Howie's Market. If you've heard us talking up Howie's Market for months on end, it's because this lovely grocery store in the San Gabriel Valley has supported us for months on end. You've already heard how Howie's Market is an award-winning butcher with the best selection of meat, seafood, spirits, wine, craft beer, and everyday groceries. And you already know that their store is a finely curated, timeless market that checks every box for aesthetics. But it's really the people at Howie's that separates them from everyone else. We love these folks with all our hearts, and we want you to love them too. If you don't live anywhere near the joint, please give them a follow on Instagram and show them that their support of this podcast is making a difference. And if you do live around the market, drop on in and tell them the Nation Golf Company sent you. You won't regret it. 6580 North San Gabriel Boulevard, open 7 days a week. And barbecuing every Saturday and Sunday in the parking lot, rain or shine.
If the PGA Championship taught me one thing, it's that I forgot how much fun it is to root against John Rahm. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fellowship. My name is Adam Hawk. He is Ryan Engel. Together we own and operate the Nation Golf Company, and this is the Monday after a major championship. Off the top to Craig Dunlap, Aaron Hauk, my wife, and everyone else who hates the golfy parts of this show. Rest assured, we will not be spending that much time on the PGA Championship because, quite frankly,
Really,
it doesn't deserve that much time. Before we jump into the time that we do spend on it, let's get you involved in the show, Ryan. How the hell are you?
Good morning.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. What a wonderful question.
What's in that mug?
It is U-Ban. Probably the greatest, cheapest coffee, if that's good grammar. Probably not, but you know what I'm saying.
I do.
And boy, is it a big, thick pot. And you get to control it. You know why you get to control it, Adam? Because it's not a coffee pod, a K-pod, whatever you want to call them. I pray at night before bed. Usually, things having to do with personal life, family. You go down the list. Towards the end of that list is praying for others in the world who have problems, troubles, and hurdles and challenges. And amongst those are people who drink pod coffee. I pray for them. Because, boy, you're missing out. When you get to choose the ratio and to just make a big, aggressive arrogance of man pot that just sits there, that you're going to dump half of it out anyways, but just to know it's there. Because let's say it's the weekend and you still make the full pot in the morning.
Yeah.
It's an offering, right? Maybe a guest will stop by. Shit, maybe the mailman asks for a pot. You never know.
Yeah.
But any red-blooded American knows that you want a hot pot of coffee on at the house at all times.
At all times.
All times. And then if you're there on the weekend, instead of dumping it out, you could get that afternoon iced coffee with the leftovers. Who doesn't love that?
Come on.
I mean, keep throwing away all those little plastic cups, those little pods. What you should do is take that whole machine, and the next time your Albertsons or grocer down the street is having a electronics drop-off, just take it on over, pal. Drop that off, and while you're there, head right back into that Albertsons and go get a Mr. Coffee. They've been around forever, and I'm sure they sell them. So, anyways, I'm about knee-deep in the first big cup, and now we're panicked because we've got no more coffee here, and it's a situation.
You covered a lot of ground there. Started out with prayer. It ended with e-waste recycling at Albertsons.
Yeah.
Glad that I asked. Back to the PGA Championship. There is no one anywhere that can honestly say that wasn't the most boring major in years, because it was. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to do...
Wait, that was a major?
Right.
Oh, I thought it was the Travelers this weekend.
Sure felt like it.
That course even reminds me of Bubba Watson's first win, which I think was the Travelers. and it has a very copycat finishing hole with that little creek up the left side. Fun fact, that first win for Mr. Watson was against Corey Pavin in the twilight of his career. He had to oust him in a playoff. And what's sad about that is that was way more exciting than the PGA Championship. So I tell you what, I was going to say this over text, but I was just too busy this weekend. You squint your eyes, and that was the Travelers.
When I put this show together on Sunday nights, there's not a world in which I imagine you'll be giving Keurig e-waste recycling takes followed by Corey Pavin takes.
I'll tell you what.
Coming off of the 2025 PGA Championship.
Call it a gift, call it a curse. That's your prerogative. All I do know is this. There's shit that goes on in my brain, and it just spews out my mouth, and I can't control it.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little segment called Storyline Blitz. I'm just going to lob out 5 storylines, and we're each going to give 30 seconds or less reactions to those storylines.
Little football analogy. Do you miss it?
No, I do not.
You don't.
And that was not an
Nobody
analogy.
misses football.
No,
Yeah.
That was just wording.
Whatever.
So we'll give 30-second or less reactions to those 5 storylines, and then we're going to move on because I don't want to spend a ton of time.
I don't
on the
either.
PGA. Great.
I don't either. But I would like to talk about John Rahm. I was thinking about it a lot yesterday.
Okay. Very good.
I'll keep it short.
We are also going to get caught up on each other's weekends. I'm going to tell you who my son, my 6-year-old son, thinks makes up the Divine Holy Trinity. And,
Oh, I can't wait for that. Oh, man.
and we will discuss if I, Adam Hawk, crossed a line on Instagram this weekend, and if I, Adam Hawk, owe the world an apology.
Hey, keep this off the air, but... Just saying, dude.
Plus, we have a load of YouTube comments to read and react to. A lot of show in front of us and nothing to it but to do it, so let's
You
do
sound
it.
excited. I just want to get that out in the atmosphere.
Is that sarcastic?
No. It's wording. Was that sarcastic? Or just passive-aggressive?
It was just aggressive.
That was aggressive-aggressive.
The 107th PGA Championship is over, and Scott Alexander Scheffler is your winner 1 year after getting fitted for silver bracelets and paying a visit to Slam City, USA. Scheffler rolled into Quail Hollow, decided not to assault any police officers by having them jump on his car, and instead he just assaulted the golf course to clear the entire field by an entire 5 shots. With the dominating performance, Scottie Scheffler now has a 3rd major. His unreal 3-year run continues, and he proved that even his B game is still a level up on everyone else. Because don't get it twisted, folks, he lapped the field, but he was only driving on 3 tires because he told CBS after Sunday's round that he was fighting his swing all day.
You could tell.
And how's that going to make the other 143 scrubs feel? This dude is good enough to fight them and himself at the same time and still win both battles by blowout. Congratulations to Scottie Scheffler. I'm sure it won't be the last time we see you running away with a very important golf tournament. All right, let's just hack away at this thing and quickly put it to bed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Storyline Blitz.
Storyline Blitz.
Storyline number 1, Scottie Scheffler just won his 3rd major. He now has 2 of the 4 legs of the career Grand Slam, with the U.S. Open and the British Open still missing from his mantle and still serendipitously on the calendar this year.
One of my favorite words of all time. I don't know exactly what it means, but boy, when people use it, I get excited.
Serendipitously?
It's just incredible. Gillis was the first person I ever heard that in the wild say it, and I laughed, acting like I knew what it meant, which is what you do, guys. If you don't know and it sounds really important or smart, you act like you do. That's rule number 1. But, yeah.
There is a decent chance he being Scotty, picks one of those 2 majors off before the summer is over and then gets even closer to the career Grand Slam. This is a 2-part storyline question here for you, Engel. Yes or no, Scotty will get the career Grand Slam at some point in his life, and yes or no, he will do it before Jordan Spieth.
If he does it, he will do it before Jordan Spieth because Jordan Spieth will never do it. That was a nice run. People still like to romanticize his days as a elite player. Folks, that was like 10, 12 years ago that happened. And remember that guy David Duval, number one in the world? Just an incredible run. What happened? So many times in this game, these guys, whether they're your run-of-the-mill pro, your journeyman, your absolute elite player, whatever it is, at every different level throughout that field, because if you really look at the field, there's tiers to the field. You know, you can say, oh, the PGA has the strongest field in golf, and it's like, yeah, and 90 players in that field will not have a chance to win that tournament. So what are we really talking about here, you know? It's about how good is the top end of the field. That's what this is about, right? Golf is it's a hard game. It's impossible. You can't master it. There's this thing called the rub of the green, where it's not a perfectly simulated football field, you know? It's not level. It's not fair. It does weird things, and so does people's career. And guys lose it all the time. They fall off. Look at Ricky Fowler. Like, it was a story that he got it back because it's so just common to lose it. And I think it's incredible that Jordan Spieth's still kicking the can around. His swing's weird. His foot looks like it breaks when he hits it. So I don't see him winning anything again. Maybe a small tournament or something, but definitely not a major. Scotty, on the other hand, same thing can be said. If he continues the trajectory that he's on right now, and I'm not much of a data guy, I don't subscribe to most of that stuff, but I saw a thing pop on the screen last night, and it was basically strokes gained over this whatever year span. And if he keeps this going for another couple years, he's in Tiger territory as far as what he's doing ball striking wise out on the course, which people will say all the time that like this next guy is going to be the next guy and this and that. Well, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. The numbers are actually backing this up, not in wins. I'm just talking about play. Inside the ropes, tee to green, this guy is playing at a level, and you said it just at the top of the show, that wasn't even his A game, and he won by 5. This is Tiger territory. Now, I know everyone's going to be like, oh, dude, yeah, he's not Tiger yet. I get it. He's got 3 majors. He's won, like 16 tournaments or something in the past 3 years or whatever. It's something like that. Dude, this is crazy. So, obviously, the combination of that and, in my opinion, a weak field nowadays, it's a recipe for this guy's B game racking up some victories. I don't know how you can bet against him. So the only person he's playing against right now is himself. Can he sustain this trajectory? Can he keep the mental fortitude and his swing in check to put himself in the conversation? If he does that for the next 2-3 seasons, bro, we might see something crazy.
I'm going to change the name of the segment from Storyline Blitz to Storyline Hail Mary Prevent.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Nothing blitz about that.
Well, maybe it's a complicated offense that I'm trying to get around.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. Yep, very good. And that will be the end of our football analogy. Storyline number 2, Scotty Scheffler, who turns 29 next month, will end up where? Where will he end up on the all-time majors list? Now, I want you to think about this carefully before you jump in. I'm not asking how many he will wind up with. I'm asking where on the all-time list he will climb to. For reference, he is now in the 3-timers club with the likes of Jordan Spieth, Padraig Harrington, Vijay Singh, Payne Stewart. One more, he's in a much smaller club with Ernie Els, Raymond Floyd, 6 other guys. 2 more, he gets into Rory and Brooks territory with 5. 3 more, and he's with Phil and Faldo and Trevino. 4 more, he's with Arnie and Snead and Bobby Jones. Then you've got Tom Watson with 8, Gary Player with 9, Walter Hagen with 11, Eldrick Taunt Woods with 15, and Jack with 18. Scotty has to double what he has now just to get into the 6-timer club with Mickelson, Sir Nick, and the Super Mechs, and that's still 9 short of Tiger, 12 short of Jack. Where do you have Scotty finishing on the all-time list?
As good as he is right now, it's still more likely that he falls off because that's just golf. But given the makeup of what he's got working with upstairs and just his pure raw ball striking ability and the combination of the field, in my opinion, I got him in Watson's category. I see him having a long career. I think it's fair that he gets one maybe every season or two, maybe more in certain runs. And I don't know, 8, 9? If I was a betting man and everything goes in his favor, like he has a, normal career health-wise and he doesn't lose his game, like if he continues this trajectory, I'd go 8 or 9.
Tiger won 14 of his 15 majors in an 11-year span between 97 and 08 when he was...
We'll never see that again, by the way.
We will never see it again. Tiger was between the ages of 21 and 32 when he won 14 of the 15. That is averaging more than one major a year for over a decade and doing it at a really young age. Scotty will be 32 in 2028. That's when Tiger stopped winning the bulk of his majors. And can Scotty win more than one major a year for more than a decade? Can anyone?
I mean, the equipment is as easy as it's ever been. So unless they start rolling that back, do you see him with that ball flight missing many fairways? He's ultra competitive. He wants to win. And he's just a ho-hum, just normal dude, He's not going to be in the media saying shit Brooks says or getting out of pocket or playing all like psychotic like Jordan Spieth would from all over the place and being hitchy and, talking to his caddy all weird. This guy just walks down the fairway and hits the fucking ball, dude.
Storyline number 3. And I cannot wait to hear your take on this. One might say I got your take on this yesterday over a group text between you and Tony Bacardi. Storyline number 3. Mud balls.
Josh, mud ball.
Embedded balls and the decision to not play preferred lies. For the laymen and laywomen out there, Quail Hollow, the golf course that hosted the PGA Championship this week in North Carolina, was pelted with sheets of rain in the days that led up to the major. Since golf is played outside on grass, it made for sloppy conditions because oftentimes when the soil beneath the turf does not fully dry out, and when someone plays golf on it, you'll get mud balls.
Oh, mud balls.
And embedded balls. Mud balls are brutal.
Gosh, mud ball.
Because it's the result of your golf ball going beneath the turf on impact, getting some wet dirt on it from underground, bouncing back up above the ground, rolling around, and coming to rest with the mud still on the surface of the ball.
Mud ball again.
And since you can't lift, clean, and place your ball, the mud stays on there and can greatly affect the flight and spin of your ball. And when you're a pro, you really, really notice these things. And when you're a pro, you really, really hate these things.
I hate mud balls so much.
Because you just hit a good drive into the fairway where you're supposed to hit it, but you've got mud on your ball because it's wet.
Mud ball. Mud. Mud ball. Get down. Mud ball. Oh, mud ball.
An embedded ball is a ball that comes to rest with part of the surface of the ball actually embedded under the turf. Usually you get free relief from embedded balls, but only when your ball is in your own embedded mark. If your ball bounces around and embeds in someone else's impression or divot, you're screwed. Now, despite the soupy conditions, the PGA of America decided to play on and play without preferred lies, meaning the way you found your ball is the way you played your ball. Sometimes you can lift clean in place, but not this week, and dudes were furious. From Scotty to Xander to Shane Lowry, all of them at one point were on microphone saying how stupid the decision was and how big of a problem mud balls were. Engel, in regards to the PGA Championship, making these guys play it as it lies, how do you feel about that decision and their reaction to it?
Par for the course, Adam. Playing the ball down is the best part of golf. Look, we've seen the videos. We know the data now. You can put a balanced, level track, golf ball track, on a green, point it at a hole, and drop a ball on the thing with zero spin and let it go towards the cup, and that ball rolls towards the hole different every single time. For anyone out there to ever think that luck isn't part of this game, and in my opinion, the greatest part of this game, it does a number of things. One, it exposes your character, and that's the most important part. These guys whining about this, that's champagne problems, dude. Come down to Short Cliffs and see the lies you get down there. This is a major championship, and you want lift clean in place for these guys? You want to make this thing look more like the Travelers? Let them put the ball in hand. That would have been the biggest mistake. Look, mud changes the ball. Your ball goes in a divot. Shit happens. You know who gets rewarded in those situations? The most skilled player. And that's what this is about. Who has the most skills? The ball is going to end up in bad places. That is the whole point of the game. Let's get rid of bunkers while we're at it. Let's make it all fairway. Like, what are we talking about here? You hit the ball, it bounces off shit, and you got to go hit it again. It is what it is, and it's the same for everybody. Guys who complain about that stuff or even try to justify the idea of letting pros put the ball in their hand, that is the softest, lamest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's so anti-golf. It's anti the entire foundation and fabric of what this game is. You play the ball down. That's the purest form, especially in a major championship. There's two types of people in this world. Those that rise to the occasion and those that make excuses in the moment. If you're going to have a surf contest and it's windy, but it's for the championship, are you going to come in after you lose your heat and go, oh, the wind, this isn't fair, they should turn the wind off? Golf's played outside. Yes, it's a mowed garden, but it's fucking nature. You hit the ball, it goes squirrely places, and the whole idea of this game is that you can't touch it. Everyone knows that. You don't touch the ball. If you do, it's a penalty. So you're just going to be like, oh, that's unfair. You know what? You hit a good drive there and it's in a divot. You should move that. What is this? Simulator League? You don't want any divots. Go play off the sim. I heard TGL was a huge success. I think they can lift clean in place there. Maybe that's more your cup of tea. For me, major championship, I want the carnage. I want to see who's the most skilled player. I want to see who can handle their own thoughts upstairs when a bounce doesn't go their way. There's a reason why Jon Rahm lost it in those last 3 holes, is because he thought that he could win this thing this week by changing his attitude and being like, he even said it in his interview, I'm not going to whine and cry about these bad bounces anymore. I'm going to laugh them off. And it was fake. It's the right thing to do, but he's not that guy. And so what happened in the end? It finally bit him in the ass. 5 over and 3 holes coming in. Bro, take that neon pink hat and head back to live, pal, because you just got so fucking exposed with your poopy diaper. And I realized this. I don't know if I said this in that one episode when I was dragging Rory over the coals for his attitude. Rory is the second poopiest diaper in golf history. Jon Rahm is number 1, and it's not even close. If anyone knows him or knows someone who went to college with him, knows anything about him, please send us a DM, send us a comment on our YouTube page. I honestly want to know if he actually has not friends, but a friend, like a true friend. I want to know if anyone's actually friends with this guy. I honestly swear to God, this guy, and I'm not talking about guys who rub elbows with him on tour. I want someone who vouches for him. No, John's a great dude. He hangs out. He does this. There's no way. That guy, just the way he walks, looks like he's red-ass pissed off, dude. And it just goes to show, the skilled player wins, and skill isn't always swing. There's a lot of guys out there playing swing and not playing golf anymore. Golf is played in a divot. Swing is played at the simulator. So, don't care what you think. Just telling you what I think. You asked, and here it is. Play the ball down. Quit fucking crying, dude.
End of story.
End of story.
Storyline number 4. Big names missing the cut.
Blitz! 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 Blitz!
Big names missing the cut. It happens at every major, but of the following, who is the biggest surprise to you? Jordan Spieth, who came in like he does every year looking for the career Grand Slam. Sepp Straka, who's been on a tear.
Who?
Shane Lowry, who is top 10 in the world at the moment. Ludwig Aubert, who looks like the next big thing. Justin Thomas, who just won some dog and pony show right before this. Ricky Fowler, who, let's be honest, isn't a surprise to anyone when he misses a cut. Jason Day, who won the PGA back in 2015 at Whistling Straits. Cam Smith, who has been on a milk carton ever since he won the 2022 British Open. Brooks Koepka, who has won this event 3 times. Or Dustin Johnson, who quite frankly should be banned from playing professional golf at this point in his career. Of those names, who is the biggest surprise to you?
The young kid, Ludwig. Everyone else, if you're being completely honest, if you know golf, if you really know golf and the pro game, every single person on that list other than Ludwig, they're all washed. You know they're washed. They've been washed for a while, and that's okay. If any one of those guys even sniffed the leaderboard this week, it would have been a storyline of back in form because they're out of form right now. So am I surprised? No. Maybe a little bit because the rest of the field is so weak. When you got Jonathan Vegas up at the top of the leaderboard after day 2, it's like, I mean, he's not having an issue out there, and this guy hasn't been in form since before Jordan Spieth. You know what I mean? So it's like, where the hell's everyone else? Again, to the last thing, to absolutely just re-execute a dead horse here. Like, you know, how many times these guys are pros? They've played how many rounds of golf? They prepare for these things all the time. Like, they knew it rained the few days before. You know what kind of course you're going to get. Look, you can be the guy that whines and makes excuses. And I know someone's going to be like, well, Scotty did too. I get it. They're all not tough. It's the nicest way I can put it, Adam. Got to toughen up. I will never respect people who complain about that kind of stuff or make those excuses or, even worse, try to change the rules to cater to that type of mentality. That is the last thing this game needs. But to the topic at hand, not really surprised at any of those guys missing the cut.
For me, Brooks Koepka was a surprise because
he's been bad for a while now, though.
He has, but this was the first time in his entire career that he ever missed the cut at the PGA Championship. I do want to say this. Someone needs to take the sticks away from Dustin Johnson. Has there ever been a bigger case of someone licking a bigger stamp and mailing in a bigger package than this guy? His current world golf ranking, 800.
Well, that doesn't matter. It's because he's on live.
In his last 7 majors, missed cut, T31, missed cut, T43, missed cut. This guy was world number 1 4 years ago in 2021. He was top 50 2 years ago in 2023. From 08 to 2022, when he was on the tour, he missed a total of 9 cuts at the majors. Since going to live 3 years ago, he has missed 5 cuts and hasn't cracked the top 30. Someone take the bats away from this guy right now because Michael Block cannot believe that this guy won't give it up.
Dude, you're surprised that the Florida guy who loves jet skis and nose beers gets $1 million injected into his bank account and he's not going to go out there and fucking try hard? This dude is more concerned with his keeping up on his golf tan, making sure it's blended and not freaking white brown on his halfway down his arm, you know? He's out there on his yacht just giving Paulina every treatment she needs, dude. I'll tell you what, Adam, that's a horrible take. You should know better than that. The writing is on the wall. That is the most obvious thing in the history of golf, why this guy has fallen out of form. He cannot handle that kind of money, and everybody knows it. You know those shows where it's like, I won the lottery and I lost it all? Like, very relatable. Again, jet skis and nose beers, probably not going to make the cut at Augusta.
Storyline number 5. This was objectively a boring major. Objectively. The leaderboard for the first 36 holes was horrendous. There was a point on Friday where Jonathan Vegas was leading Saliva Hands, Matthew Pavon, and Ryan Gerard, whoever the heck that is, and Michael Thorborgeson, and Steven Yeager, and Taylor Pendrith, and Aaron Rye, and 15 other total anonymous players. Look, I get that the tournament ended with Scotty holding up the trophy and that right below his name, albeit 5 shots back, was Bryson DeChambeau, but this event was absolutely unwatchable the first 2 days, and a snooze fest on Sunday after Jon Rahm took an Uber home about 4 holes too early. Yeah, Saturday was cool with Bryson pacing Scotty, but that lasted all of 2 minutes before BDC went MIA, and now that's the second major in a row that Bryson disappeared from late in the event. Rory this week was a no-show. Huge names missed the cut, and there was no drama. I am not saying this to continue on a tongue-in-cheek take because I don't really like the PGA Championship and everyone knows it, but objectively, this was forgettable. If I had to sum it up in 8 words, a snoozy guy won a snoozy golf major.
Yeah, I mean, the most exciting part of the whole weekend was Scotty just ripping the back 9 to shreds on Saturday. That was very Tiger-like. The win was very Tiger-like. People like to glamorize these fist pump moments and stuff, but when you really look at a snapshot of most of Tiger's big victories, he kind of slow start Thursday, plays pretty decent Friday, lights out on Saturday, gets a lead, and then just kind of, 1 under to 2 over, just protects it and plays solid golf all day Sunday and hoists the trophy by a couple shots. You could argue that that's fucking boring too. And that's what Scotty's doing right now, because just like in Tiger's prime of those 11 years, as heroic and as amazing as that was, he was so far better than the field back then that he was playing himself. That's what Scotty's doing right now. Bryson's willing his way to second place. His game is not there. He hits it a far away, and he's got the moxie to step up and hit a shot under pressure. But did you notice, and we've been watching him now for the past handful of majors when he's been somewhat in the hunt, this guy's wedge game around the greens and inside of 80 yards is horrible. These like single length fucking wedge 3D printed things that go 150 yards, he doesn't know how to dial them back. A lot of this, it's the same with Jon Rahm. He's got the short swing that has super fast. You got no feel with that. All you know how to do is play 100 miles an hour. You can't dial it back and hit the cute shot. And Scotty's got the shots, and he's not missing the ball much. And yeah, that all tied together does make for these boring things. But not to drag your boy Eldrick back into this conversation, but this is a lot like most of his wins. If you're real, yes, he had the fist pump moments, and those are the ones that are going to get the Nike commercials. But if you look at the overall play in a lot of those tournaments, it was fucking boring, dude. I love that golf has Scotty right now, but boy, do we need someone to fucking sniff at his heels. Because as impressive as his play is, as far as golf fandom is concerned, watching these majors, even if he lines up a bunch of them and gets in this historic category with these guys, is it going to be exciting? And that's not to say I think Scotty is an exciting player. What's not exciting is there's no one else he's playing but himself. And I think that's golf's biggest issue right now.
Bonus storyline, Brooks Koepka was photographed at a gas station buying a case of Miller Lights after missing the cut.
Isn't he a Michelob Ultra ambassador?
You beat me to it. My question here is, are you buying that photo? Because to me, it seems way too perfect. It seems like a quote-unquote organic ad. I haven't seen Brooks doing any Mick Ultra commercials lately, which he used to do. And this feels to me like a viral social media commercial. It's just way too perfect because it's clearly him standing in line by himself, clearly buying a case of Miller Lights with the logo out. It looks like an ad. Maybe deep down, I just don't believe Brooks is cool enough for Miller Lattes. But this photo seemed a little too suspicious to me.
That's interesting. I didn't think of it that way. I was just thinking of it like maybe he's finally matured enough to where He understands that the only choice is Miller Lite, because if you're a real man and you have grown-up taste buds, you understand that the full-bodied Pilsners are the most tasteful. Shout out to Bud Heavy, Coors Banquet, things of that nature. But those things also give you gout. And shout out to Ray Rodriguez. It's not gout, it's the gout. And if you want the gout, you stick to those high-calorie beers. The great thing about Miller Lite, tastes just like a Bud Heavy or a Coors Banquet, but it's one single calorie more than that slim, stupid, piss water Michelob Ultra. People don't realize that. They're like, oh, Mick Ultra is the golf course beer. For what? Someone who fried their tongue and can't taste anything anymore? Do you realize that Miller Lite not only looks cooler and tastes better, but it's one more calorie more than Mick Ultra? And it fits in a koozie. Find me a koozie that Michelob Ultra fits in. They don't make them. That's funny you said that. Is this like a window into the future? Is he going to have a deal with Miller Lite? Time will tell. But I didn't look at it that way. That's interesting. The way I looked at it was like, oh, his mouth finally grew up.
Since all of you listeners just endured hardcore golf talk, let's do some YouTube comments in the middle of the episode instead of at the
interesting.
end.
Look at you.
Yes. Rewarding the people for sitting through that.
You know what I like about this episode, Adam?
What's that?
You didn't text me last night with a, hey, be ready for this prep stuff.
Yeah, because
I got to come in here myself for once.
For once. We've done this 132 times. I think you've got to come in here as yourself 125 of those times.
Oh, like I haven't before? Okay.
There's been 6 or 7 times maybe that I've asked you to prep.
Yeah.
So this is not anything rare. And I did have a big old text message typed out to you last night for things to prep on, and then I realized the only thing I really want him to do is to move through these topics quickly, but there's absolutely no way that's going to happen.
Yeah, well, they call me the earthquake. EQ over here. Sometimes there's aftershocks. Yeah. Usually they're long rollers.
I was like, what can I call that segment to make him feel like he needs to go through it quickly? Okay, Storyline Blitz.
Storyline Blitz. Good try.
Yeah. We'll try again
next
time.
It's a good one. Yeah, good try.
Get ready for rapid fire next major.
Yeah, rapid fire.
Yeah. You'll be holding a musket. Yeah. Here we go. Listen anywhere you want to this podcast, Apple, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. But if you're going to leave comments that you want read, leave them on YouTube. It is the only place that we pull from.
And why do we do that, Adam?
We do that because, one,
we make tens of dollars.
Tens of cents.
Yeah.
On YouTube. We're monetized over there. But also, between my 2 email inboxes, the DMs, this group me text message I'm on for soccer, this group text I'm on for tennis, I just have way too many communications coming in and out. So at the very least, I just want to pull the podcast comments from one place.
That's interesting because you're comms guy. That's your profession, right?
Yes.
You're professional comms. That's fair to say, right?
Yes.
You complaining about comms is a lot like a pro wanting to lift clean in place at a tournament.
Wow. Walked right into that one. Sean Beeler, 6951, asks, quote, any chance you all are going to drop the shoe bag from the Nation Desert Classic on the online store so the rest of us can scoop one?
We are, and we were supposed to last week. But I'm over here on an island by myself trying to shoot photos of something that I don't know what I'm doing with, and I'd really love our creative team to step on in and take this away from me.
Okay.
Okay.
So the answer is yes.
Soon.
As soon as we figure out how to take pictures.
Yeah. No one said we're the smartest business guys.
No one has ever said that.
Yeah.
Lone Star Mike says, quote, love hearing you guys both so stoked on your new team and teammates at Nation Golf. It makes me excited to be a part of the community as you guys get excited to build this brand with other people, end quote.
Love it.
Do you?
I do.
Great.
Yeah.
Great timing reading this comment coming off of our Slack communications last night and this morning.
Wow. One thing I can set the music to, set my watch to, and just absolutely depend on is you overthinking every bit of communication with an emotional response.
That's me, folks.
Yep. But it's okay. We love you for it. Didn't say you're wrong. Just disagree with the emotional level of it. And I totally agree wholeheartedly that there's a problem. Talking it out is great because tone is important and tone is missed via text. But you know what? We live in a digital world. It's the digital age. And I'm a digital guy.
Enrico Bigatti writes in, quote, cheers to the grocery outlet. They have heavily discounted hard liquor, and we all know that hard liquor does not have an expiration date. You are correct, EB. They do have a wonderful selection of heavily discounted hard liquor. Granted, I've never heard of any of these hard liquors.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Gets the job done all
Bolson Brothers,
Yeah.
Kentucky bourbon. You're like, what? Plastic? I'll take it.
$10. Yep. Michael Nolan, the Michael Nolan, writes in, quote, what items are a must-have in your country club locker? End quote. Great question.
In the your personal locker.
Yes, and clearly he's writing this question after listening to last episode when we discussed the fact that I now have a locker at Indian Wells Country Club. And if you want to join us out there at Indian Wells, best deal ever being offered right now to fellowship listeners and nation stalwarts. Check the link in our show notes, click it, and join us at Indian Wells Country Club. But Mike Nolan clearly heard that conversation that I have a locker there and that you were trying to find it to mess with it. So he's wondering what items are a must-have in your country club locker.
Oh, me? I thought you were going to go first.
I just got mine.
Oh,
Mine's empty.
So you got nothing in there? I can
No.
tell you what you will have in yours.
Yeah, okay.
Cobwebs. Yeah. You might need to give the locker room attendant an extra key so you can go in there and dust the damn thing every now and then, because it's gonna be a sad, empty, lonely place. But for me, I keep in Hawaii we call these slippas, but they're what you would call here on the mainland rubber sandals. Right, I keep a pair of those for the Schwitz.
Welcome to the Schwitz.
So you can walk around. You don't have to wear those little paper go-aheads that they give you, So I keep a pair of rubber sandals in there. I keep a shave coat, which is an old school way of describing a short little robe. Keep that for the Schwitz.
Welcome to the Schwitz.
As well. I keep a few pairs of shoes and a few hats and usually a change of clothes and a pair of dinner shoes, which in this case, it's always good. I just keep a pair of huarache sandals in there because those can dress up or dress down any outfit, and it's something you could play golf with. Take your golf shoes off, leave them there for the attendant to clean them up for you in his own time, and then you just take those little dress socks that you saturated all day and you throw those in the trash, and then you put your huaraches on and head over to get some dinner in the ballroom, and you look like somebody. I also keep my own aftershave in there because I like my own flavor. Then just some random golf items, like tees, markers, and stuff, shit that comes out of your pockets that just starts to accumulate. And then the last thing I keep in there is a couple of different varieties of bottles of spirits, just in case when you need a little nipper. And fully stocked, ready to go. What you should have in there is, and I normally do, but I actually use my locker a lot so things transfer off a little bit, is a sport coat. It's good to keep a dress shirt, a sport coat, an extra golf shirt. I usually have those things in there, but it's been a hell of a run this year out in the des, and I had to take a lot of the stuff home to wash it and get it back for the season. So I look forward to bringing my stuff back out there and putting them in there. And I'll bring a Swifter pad, too, just in case, so I can keep yours clean.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Chino Yacht Club says, quote, this isn't a comment for the podcast, but rather a comment for what I saw from you guys on Instagram when you posted the back and forth DMs between your company account and the random freeloader with his hand out asking for goodies and overnight shipping. I absolutely loved how you guys handled that and what you said. Your responses to this guy were dead flipping on, and having recently dealt with something very similar, Thank you for calling him out, end quote. Now, this comment leads me into a topic that I wanted to talk about today. So, last week, we received a direct message from someone we don't know asking us for free stuff. We get this kind of DM all the time, and we're getting it more now than ever because we're running ads on Instagram again. So people who don't know us are seeing Nation Golf for the first time pop up into their feed. Essentially, believe it or not, somebody will hit us up who we don't know and ask us for free merch from our shop. And it's usually cloaked in some kind of story, a buddy's trip or a bachelor party, and how this person DMing us really wants to rep the brand and how stoked their guys would be to have some swag. At the end of the day, it is nothing more than a solicitation from a stranger for free stuff from us. I'm not kidding. We get this request at least once a week. What's particularly annoying about the requests is that the solicitations are clearly rinse and repeat, meaning these guys don't even bother to personalize it for us or anyone that they're sending it to. They're just copy pasting and blasting brands, hoping that somebody says yes. And as a professional writer, I can spot these copy-paste jobs from a mile away. To make matters even more annoying, 99 times out of 100, these freeloading solicitors who tell us how much they love our brand and how honored they would be to wear it don't even follow us on Instagram. But in their messages, they tell us how much they like what we're doing and how honored they would be to get a free care package. Full disclosure, I run our Instagram. I am responsible for most things on there, and I read the DMs and answer them. And I usually ignore these requests, but this one that we received last week was too brutal to ignore. I'm going to walk you through it, and then I am going to have a very honest reflection on how I handled the situation.
Oh, geez.
So some dude wrote to us and said, quote, "Hey fam, got a boys trip in a week from today, and I would love to surprise my friends with some stuff. We have a Masters dinner every year the night before the first round, and since I won the tournament last year, I'm hosting the dinner. I would love to surprise the fellows with some stuff. It could be anything like a valuables pouch for the winner or something for everyone. I'm grateful for whatever. I know it's kind of last minute, but overnight shipping does exist." End quote. So I couldn't help myself when I saw this, and I wrote back, quote, "Are you asking us to overnight ship free product so you can gift your friends on a golf trip? I just want to make sure we're reading that correctly." End quote. This person, this stranger, this freeloader wrote back, quote, "Yes, I've already had a few brands send me some stuff, and I plan on making a thank you video for my 20,000 TikTok followers." End quote. So, in case you're having trouble following along, this dude shamelessly wants Nation Golf to not only send him and his entire golf trip free stuff, but he wants it overnighted, which is like $30 minimum in shipping. And he's going to make it worth our while with a TikTok shout out to his 20,000 followers.
I wonder if he has one of those like lip sync accounts where you video yourself in your bathroom and sing along to songs.
Did you just refer to lip syncing as lip singing?
No, I said syncing.
Did you?
Yeah.
I wonder too. Maybe he does.
Because those are really fun.
We should have taken him up on this. Again, I couldn't let this go because of the audacity of it all. So I responded, quote, "Hey, serious question, and please consider this. Would you walk into Target or Best Buy or Costco or any store and ask for free stuff? No one would. Those companies are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, but you're okay asking a small business for their product for free. You know, we spend our money to make this stuff, so asking a small business for free stuff is like asking them for their money. It's pretty disrespectful. What would be better than a TikTok shout out would be an actual order on our website. I cannot believe you asked for overnight shipping too." End quote.
Love that part.
Now, I thought that was as nice as I could be. No swearing, no name calling, just facts, and I thought he would be ashamed enough to stop DMing. But of course he wasn't, and he wrote back, quote, "Absolutely zero reason for you to take it so personally. Instead of accepting or politely denying, like several small businesses have done to me today, you spent your evening trying to lecture someone over DM. This is the attitude that will keep you a small business. End quote. This dude is actually digging in and fighting back. Pretty incredible. So here is the last message that I sent and the last message in our exchange. Quote, our response was thoughtful and it wasn't impolite. We are entitled to respond like a business when we are asked a business question. You're copy-pasting DMs and mass messaging brands looking for free stuff from people you've never met. It's a pathetic way to use the internet. Leave us alone and stop asking for free stuff and getting offended when we tell you why we're not going to do it. The only free thing we have for you is a free lesson, and you just got it. End quote.
Whoa.
End of conversation. And believe it or not, he beat us to the punch, and he blocked us first.
I think he deleted the account.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Which is the biggest red flag in all of this. I just want to say something before you get into the weeds.
Okay.
We do get this a lot.
These kinds of questions.
These kinds of questions, these kinds of reach outs. I'm sure a lot of people do. It's not just special to us. And we've responded to a number of these guys the same way over the years. Some of them we just ignore. There's two instances that really stick out further than the rest. We've had this from blue check, hundreds of thousands of followers, females, that have said, I'm getting married next week and my husband and his groomsmen would really like this. And blah. So we have actual people that do this social media thing for a living, fishing for this kind of shit, which is, to me, the lowest of low. And then we've also had these countless, quote unquote, college athletes who don't follow us, who's like, oh yeah, I'm a lacrosse guy, but I'm looking into getting into golf, and if you send me some free shit, I'll post about it to all my followers. Then you look at their thing, they have 3,000 followers, which, look, I'm not trying to shame anyone's followers. I think this whole thing is stupid, but, you know, if you're going to try and monetize your worth with some type of traction ideology as followers, then of course we're going to look at that and judge that whole situation because you made us, pal, right? So I just want to say this one didn't even piss me off as much as it did you. I still love and fully back your handling of it, but those other two were times where you and our new team should be thankful that I have nothing to do with the Nation Golf account anymore,
Right?
Because history will show that I don't have a lot of patience for these types of interactions, and I'm not afraid to absolutely body these people. So your response was great. It was a lot nicer than I would have done. Maybe we won't be a small business forever because of that.
Maybe. Here's where I think I crossed a line, and here's where regret enters the equation for me. I posted the screenshots of that conversation on our Nation Golf Instagram stories, which, to be clear, I did because I wanted to enlighten our followers on some of the messages we get and to show them how we handle them, and to particularly shine a light on this exchange because of the audacity and the shamelessness of this person. Because of all requests we've received, we've never had one asking us for overnight shipping to an entire golf group and then getting mad at us when we explained why we weren't going to do it. So I thought the screenshots would be interesting and entertaining and well received. And guess what? They were all three. Folks absolutely loved them. 110% full support, tons of praise for how we handled it. A couple of people even went to our store and placed orders just to protest this guy. More views and more comments and more engagement on those screenshots than anything we have ever posted in our stories in our history of being on Instagram. But I made a mistake, and I included the guy's profile name in the screenshots. And I didn't think about that, and it was careless. And give this person credit, our creative director, Justin Jung, he called me out on that. He literally picked up the phone and called me and said, we should have crossed this guy's name out. And Justin was 100% right. I should have crossed that guy's name out. There was no reason to put this stranger on blast, no matter how egregious and entitled and audacious and rude he was. And he was all of those things. But as soon as I put his name out there, I am essentially giving license and a bit of encouragement for our followers to go mess with this dude. And we're telling those followers right where this guy is, even if that wasn't my intention. It can be perceived that way. And I heard that within a few hours of sharing those screenshots, this person had deleted his entire Instagram. Nuke City, USA.
Yeah, look, Justin's not wrong, but there's more nuance to it than that.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'll get to your side in just one second. I've done a lot of things in my day. I've never actually done something that forced someone to delete their account.
I don't think it's that serious. I think this was a burner shadow account that he created to get free shit, and the fact that he deleted it. If this was a real person's account, I get this where you're going with this, and that's where regret should lie. Should we have done it? Probably not. Being a brand, we're a smaller brand, so it's whatever. I think that is the biggest telling thing in this whole thing, is because it just points to me that the obvious conclusion here is that it was a burner account. You know what I'm saying? So not the worst mistake to make.
Okay, and I appreciate your support, but I do want to say that I don't feel great about how this transpired. I don't feel great about how I conducted myself as a leader at this company. At the end of the day, it's your grandfather as our logo. It's Nation Golf, not Adam Hawk Golf. It's 5 people building this thing, not just me. And even if we come off really, really well in those DMs, which we did, and have everyone's support, which we do, and it leads to orders, which it did, and it feeds into this identity that Nation Golf isn't scared to pick and win battles against the likes of Footjoy, Bad Birdie, and freeloaders in the DMs. There's a better way to do it. And it starts with crossing that dude's name out. Because if anyone went to his page and got aggressive with him because of screenshots I posted, then I brought that guy a bunch of hate that he didn't deserve. And that's not good. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the team. And I'm sorry for being 37 years old and using Instagram like a 17-year-old. And I'm sorry to the dude for bringing potentially a pitchfork mob to his DMs that apparently could have been aggressive enough to get him to delete his account. Do I hate the way that that guy uses the internet with his hand out and zero self-awareness? Yes, I do. But do I hate the way I use the internet even more this weekend with a finger pointed and zero self-restraint? Yes, I do.
Yeah, I get it. Like I said, more layers to it. End of the day, shame and accountability, it works. You could say maybe it wasn't the best way handled, but my question to you is, was it effective?
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to know who actually sent him some shit. That's what I want to know.
We got a DM from another brand who we are very close with in the space. We will not dox them, but a brand that's actually bigger than us, who sent us a screenshot privately of the same person asking them the exact same question with the exact same text. So
love it.
If you think I'm out on a limb saying that these messages are copy pasted and we're all getting carpet bombed, I am not. They are copy-pasted, and they are sent to every other brand out there.
Yeah.
But we decided to engage and then post the screenshots. And this guy deleted his account.
Love it. I just love that. I get it. Business ethics on the internet have changed. And, yeah, we should definitely be more mindful of that. In this case, yeah, we were a little bit wrong. But I think we're small enough to make those mistakes still. And it's a good lesson learned. No greater lesson was learned than his. It's nice to know that we didn't delete our account, pal. You deleted yours.
Yeah.
So who's right, who's wrong? And anyone who's ever had any type of business or self-employment would never do anything like that. So I hope he's having fun at his cubicle this week, thinking about the next accounts he tries to open up to get free shit, because there's no place in this universe that guy's a business person. And that's the end of story.
You almost went to push the mic away.
Yeah, I tried. But
That's your move. End of story, push the mic away, which I love. Switching gears. Guess where I am going June 6th, 7th, and 8th?
Some SCGA boondoggle?
I'm going to Borrego Springs, Rams Hill, to play in the two-man clash.
Who's your partner?
We're going to get there in just one sec. But
Who is your partner? I want to know right now.
No. I'm going to tell you at the end of this spiel, because as soon as I tell you, you're going to ruin the spiel, and I need to get through the spiel. Folks, Will the Mayor Mayo, who runs things out at Rams Hill, has a special offer for Nation Golf listeners and Nation Desert Classic players. If you want to come play in the Clash, you get a sweetheart of a deal only available to you. Friday practice round, Friday yacht club party with food and beverage, Saturday tournament round 1, swag bag, entry into the raffle, Saturday horse race, Sunday tournament round 2, food and beverage throughout Saturday and Sunday, including a steak dinner Saturday night and 2 nights of lodging. Front to back, Friday through Sunday, 3 rounds of golf, a derby, a couple of parties, all the F&B you could possibly want, and lodging, all for $800.
That's pretty good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And actually, it's only $7.99. My bad.
Well, yeah.
$7.99, come play in the Clash. You will be joining me, because I'll be out there. Guess who else is going? Jimmy Tropicana will be out there. Everyone knows James Tropicana, our good pal. And my partner, because you, Ryan, will be in Idaho. I had to find a new partner.
That's assuming I would have been yours.
Guess who is joining me at the Clash?
Justin Jung.
No. By the way, Justin bought clubs 2 months ago. They've been sitting in our office ever since.
I ran out of grip tape. I ordered it.
It's not like he would have played them.
No. Who is it?
Tony Bacardi.
No, it isn't. God, no one's more thirsty for these tournaments than Tony, dude.
Don't talk about my partner that way.
Well, we'll see.
Tony Bacardi is my partner at the Clash.
What I love about this is that you're going to physically spend more time at this event than you do at our Nation Desert Classic, which is incredible.
I actually told the mayor, Will Mayo, how excited I am for this, because when it comes to SCGA events, I have to be on and usually working part of them. When it comes to the Nation Desert Classic, we're working them. It's the first golf event I've been to in a long time where I'm the guest.
Mina coming?
She is a maybe at this point. It depends on the lodging that we work out.
The kids for sure ain't coming.
They might be going.
Maybe.
They might be going.
Yep.
So it would be Mina, the kids, myself, and Uncle Tony, all lodging together.
Wow.
And I'm hoping that comes to fruition.
Are you staying in the big house?
No.
Oh, I was going to say they have a gym there, so you could hold Tony's phone and video him working out instead of him having to prop it up himself.
I want to ask you something. On Wednesday, you played in the Gillis game.
Yep.
And you rode with Tony.
Yep.
And you guys posted stories together.
Yeah.
And you tagged him. And you guys even got on the phone together and said, hey, I want to dispel the rumors that we don't like each other. We actually love each other.
Which flew over his head, which was so Tony Bacardi, and I loved it.
Okay, here's
He's
the
like,
thing.
what do you mean?
I was so excited to see you come around publicly to being a Tony Bacardi guy. I've been a Tony Bacardi guy.
I've always been a Tony Bacardi guy.
No one's
he
been
just drives me nuts trying to think that our relationship via text message is Skip Bayless and fucking Stephen A. Smith. Guy's always trying to fight me on a take. In person, we're bros, dude. We shared cigars, not the same ones, but you kind of get where I'm going with this. We had a hell of a day. Dude, I love me some Tony Bacardi. He is one of the most interesting men in the world.
Good.
Yeah.
Because I love Tony. And I thought you guys were on the mend. And then you guys got into quite a number of fights over the PGA Championship on group text.
Fights? I was just not letting him do his spiel. I was just poking him back.
Okay.
Okay.
I was laughing the entire time, and I'm sure he was too. We even talked about it in the cart that day of how funny. We talked about how much it makes you nervous because you think we're fighting.
Well, for
when
those
we're not
listening, there's a 3-way group text between Ryan, Tony, and myself, and 99% of it is Ryan telling Tony how stupid he is and Tony digging in and fighting back and me just reading it, sweating, going, why did these two guys who are my friends have to hate each other so much?
We love each other.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious.
Okay, so I'm the butt of the joke.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
In an indirect way.
If you want to come play the Clash and kick your summer off right at one of the top 100 public golf courses in America and watch how Will the Mayor Mayo throws a party, who, by the way, Will is a Nation golf stalwart. He's played in the last couple of Nation Desert Classics. As Ryan says, this guy can't keep his shirt tucked in. One swing and that shirt's flying around like a sail. But if you want to join at that special rate, hit up Will, wmayo@ramshill.com, wmayo@ramshill.com. Just put Nation in the subject line, and he will give you that very special deal, which again includes 3 rounds of golf, a couple of parties, a derby, lodging, and F&B.
That's a very generous deal.
Yes, it is. And Ryan,
in the business, we call that value.
Yes.
That tournament has a lot of value.
There you go. There you go. And you would know because you throw these tournaments, you know what they cost. I went to church on Sunday just with my son Johnny because my wife has been fighting the worst cough I've ever heard. She has a cough so bad that the doctors prescribed her codeine.
Whoa, they still have that?
I know. Is Little Wayne her doctor?
Double the cup up. That shit eats through the styrofoam, dude.
Yeah, drop a little grape juice and a Jolly Rancher in there. But she's on codeine right now. That's how bad her cough is, and it's lasted 2 weeks. Guess what she blames? The Nation Desert Classic, because everyone was smoking all over me, as if it wasn't the recycled air pumping through Desi's hotel.
You know, exactly. You know what you don't get colds from? Dry desert air. You got the cold because you were out in the field of the gods, and you came back into humid Orange County in the concrete jungle and just started going, It's like when you're skiing and you get used to the weather outside, and then when you come in the lodge and it's all warm, you're just like, your allergies start just Niagara falling out of your nostrils, you know? And you're like, oh my God, I can't even breathe in here. And it's just because you go from one extreme to the next, you just get blown.
She has had this cough for 2 weeks, so she stayed home from church. My daughter stayed back to get ready for her last spring soccer game, and speaking of church, thank the Lord that season is over. But I went to church with Johnny. He went to his kids' class. I went to the big service, and then we went home to pick up the girls for soccer. On the way to soccer, Johnny is in his car seat in the back. The whole family's in the car, and he says out loud to the car, quote, "Daddy, do you know who the 3 powerful people are?" End quote. And I thought to myself, is my 6-year-old boy about to announce to the car that he understands the holy divine trinity of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit? Is this about to be the proudest moment of my life? So I said to him, "Tell me, Johnny, who are the powerful 3 people?" And he said, "God." And I said, right. And then he said, "Jesus." And I said, right, knowing that he meant God the Father and God the Son. And then he said, Santa. God, Jesus, and Santa. Johnny's holy trinity.
Did that make your blood boil?
It made me laugh out loud pretty hard.
Yeah. And then you had flashbacks of putting that tree up in the rafters at 6 a.m. and them just opening presents without any gratitude, you know, and the mess it makes and just all the bah humbug you can think of.
Sure. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, Johnny. Good job. God, Jesus, Santa. We will hopefully round that out too. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
you could make an argument that Santa falls into the Holy Spirit category. You know what I mean? I could see, a juvenile argument could be made there.
All right. At the risk of further blasphemy, let's move on and close out the show. I want to ask you very quickly because we are in the midst of recording our longest podcast ever.
Nice.
How was your weekend? I ask because I follow it along on social media, and I saw two things that particularly piqued my interest. One, you went to a punk rock show.
Yeah.
And
well,
not just any punk rock show.
Two of the bands were punk, but
okay.
yeah.
And you went up to Anaheim. I thought that you melted when you went north of Irvine, so I was surprised to see that you were in one piece in Anaheim.
Well, it's after dark, so yeah.
And then, two, I saw a video of your daughter singing in what looked like a church choir. So let's start with the punk show in Anaheim.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know this, but one of my best friends growing up, Dave Bainey, his family owns Infinity Surfboards in Dana Point, and I worked there for a long time, and him and I were best friends, and we were in a couple of bands together. The punk scene, especially back then, late 90s, early 2000s, especially in like South Orange County, it's a little niche thing and kind of a small thing, so everyone kind of knew everybody and stuff. And two of the bands that we had seen a bunch, we were supposed to open up for Homegrown for a New Year's show, I think in like 2001, but our drummer was like on a surf trip or something, and so we didn't get that, but we were there at the show, and our friends threw that party. And fun fact, Homegrown, most of those guys are from San Clemente, so they're like kind of the most successful punk band from San Clemente. And then Limbeck, we had a lot of mutual friends that were friends with those guys. We watched them before they even made record deals, like play at high school parties and stuff like that. They were from Aliso High School. So both those bands were, from our area, and we knew them well, just kind of nostalgic to the era of that. And they recently had gotten back together and they've done the show. I think Homegrown, this was their third show back because they had like a falling out and stopped playing music for a long time. And they were back together and they put on such a good show. It was so fun. We were there at the show, and Dave, my buddy who we were in the band together, and his wife, I planned to go because he was going too, and it was kind of like we were going to hang and do it, and it was something we shared when we were younger, and so it was like kind of like a cool thing to do again. I was going to the bathroom in between sets when Limbeck got off the stage before Homegrown came on, and I bump into Peter Butler, who was in our band, in the bathroom, and then he was with Trevor Baird, Trevor from the Tracks, and a bunch of guys that we played music alongside in high school. And so we had this we weren't in the pit, we were on the very outskirts of it, trying not to be in it, but we were down in the GA area at the bottom, and we just had this big group of people from our area watching these guys from our area, and it was super fun. I did this because I was trying to do something fun for my wife, something different. Because the tournament lands on our anniversary every year, it's like I try to do something after the tournament for her, and the whole Mother's Day thing coming up quick after we got back from the tournament was the same kind of deal. So I planned a little date night, but I invited her best friend, and we went to her favorite restaurant in Costa Mesa, and I did it all as a surprise, like picked up her best friend on the way, went to the restaurant, and then from there took her to the observatory, and we saw the band, and she had an amazing time. It was super casual and fun and spontaneous, and I think she enjoyed it. So it was nice to see some old friends and see some old bands that we listened to when we were kids. It was seriously a lot of fun. But it's funny, we're getting older.
Yeah.
The Homegrown guys, they're a couple years older than us, and the one of the guitarists, he's this Filipino guy, and he's super funny. And like he'd be in between songs, like, all right, let's hurry up. He'd look at his watch. He's like, it's getting late. Like he's making dad jokes, like past my bedtime and shit like that.
Yeah.
But they put on an incredible show. People were the energy there was just second to none. It was a really fun venue, but just a lot of nostalgia, a lot of high energy, and it was super, super enjoyable.
Great. Glad that you had a good time. And then on Sunday, I saw a video of your daughter singing in what appeared to be the church choir.
Yeah. Yeah. She goes to a Lutheran preschool, and so every now and then they do like a little thing for the kids where they sing in front of the congregation. So we went to that church on Sunday and watched them, and it was super cool.
Very nice. Sounds like a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, it was a really good weekend. No beach this weekend. Weather was kind of bunk, but we made the best of it.
That's good. And for those wondering, and I know that you are, my daughter's soccer season concluded this weekend.
How did it go?
We were shut out 11-0.
Oh my God!
We finished the season 0-9, and we were
Scoreless.
Scored 68-0.
Not one goal.
Not one goal.
That could be the worst season of soccer ever played.
The coach told me afterwards that this was a career-ending season for him.
He's done.
He had coached for 7 straight seasons, and he's done now.
Wow.
Yeah. So, guess who's dusting off the old clipboard for fall?
Some would say that he deleted his account.
And on that note, folks, a perfect note to end on. We are going to get out of here. Thank you so much for listening to The Fellowship. We will talk to you next Monday.
End of story.